Hello, it's Katie from Lady Red Crafting, and today we're going to make some patriotic crafts. Craft number 1. For this craft, we're going to use a Dollar Tree garden stake, and I'm going to remove the stake from the ornament. I'm using needle nose pliers, and it came off pretty quickly, so it was really easy to take apart. Next, I have a USA sign from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to deconstruct it so that we can use the letters in our sign. I'm using needle nose pliers and a flat screwdriver to remove the staples from the back of these letters. I really like this USA sign just because you can get 3 letters for $1.25. In most places they are over $1 a letter, so this is a really good value. So now I'm going to grab my zip sander and I'm just going to sand off the blue sparkles on this sign. We're going to paint over these letters, but I wanted to get as many of those sparkles off of the sign. I just laid a paper towel down just so it would catch the sparkles. It'd be easier to clean up. Now we grab a paintable surface and some white Waverly paint, and we're going to do a nice coat of paint over the top of these letters. I did do 2 coats of paint just because I wanted to make sure that nothing showed through. I'm going to get some matte Mod Podge, and I'm just going to coat all of these letters with the Mod Podge. We're going to let it dry, and I'm going to do 2 coats of this Mod Podge just to be sure that this napkin will stick really well to the Mod Podge. So these napkins I got from Dollar Tree last year and were in my stash, and I'm using some blue painter's tape, and I'm just going to take the top layer of the napkin off of the napkins. And we need 3 napkins for these letters because we're using the center of the napkin where the words are not visible for the letters. And I'm just going to center that on top of the letters, and then I'm going to grab my iron and a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to iron on the napkin. And the glue will warm up and the napkin will stick to it, and it'll leave a nice flat finish. So now we're going to repeat this for all 3 letters. We're just going to center the napkin on top of the letter, add the parchment paper, and iron on. So while we're doing this, do you guys have any 4th of July traditions? If you do and would like to share, please leave a comment below and let us know what you guys do on the 4th of July. So we're going to grab our zip sander again, and we're going to sand in a downward motion around the outsides of the letters. Now, you won't be able to get the sander in between some of the letters, and so what we're going to have to do is we're going to use a X-Acto knife to cut out the napkins around these insides of the letters. So for our family on the 4th of July, we get together with my sister and her children, and we set off fireworks. So now that we got all of the letters sanded down and cut out, we're going to take them outside, and I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel, and I'm going to seal these, and we're going to spray 2 coats on top of these letters. So while the letters are drying, we're going to get this board from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to take the little hanger off of it, and I'm using this white twine that I got from the Dollar Tree in the nautical section, and I'm going to hot glue a little piece on the back side of the sign, and we're going to wrap it around the edge. And this will cover the circles that are open on the edge of the sign. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well after I hot glue this one into place, just so that it matches and it looks really nice. I'm going to hang the sign in the horizontal direction, which is why we are doing this. When I saw this board at the Dollar Tree, I really liked how it was rustic looking and had almost like a whitewash finish to it. So I'm not going to do any painting or anything else to this board. So now let's go ahead and put the sign together. We're going to go ahead and hot glue the ornament that we had earlier to the end of the sign. So on either end you'll have the star and then the ornament. And then we're going to put USA throughout the center. So now let's get the letters attached to the sign. I'm using my glue gun, and for my glue gun I use Gorilla Glue glue sticks. And I'm just going to space these out as best as I can to fit in between that star and that ornament. Once everything is glued, we're going to flip over this sign. And on the back side of the sign, we're going to add a little bit more twine on either end. And I use a little piece of ribbon and I glue that over the top of the twine just to make sure it stays into place. And this will be what we will use to hang our sign. I'm going to tie that together in the center, and I usually try to pull it tight and then I tie a little knot and then I'll add the bow after that. Now the sign is ready to hang. Craft number 2. So at the Dollar Tree, I really like this sign, especially the bicycle in this sign. So I took apart the sign and I'm going to set aside the other 2 pieces and use them in a different project. And I did not want to change what this sign was. I love that it said live free and I love the flowers and the little flag. So we're going to use this as a center of a wreath. For this wreath, we're going to do something a little bit not traditional, and we're going to use some clips from the Dollar Tree. I'm taking a Ziploc bag, and I use the gallon size bag and the thick freezer size one, so it's less likely to break when you're doing this. And I use my antique Waverly wax and some water. And I'm just going to mush that around inside of the bag. Now we're going to set that one aside, and I'm going to grab another gallon bag. And for this one, I'm going to use Waverly white chalk paint and some water. And now I'm going to add the clothespins into each one of these bags. I used 24 clothespins for each bag, but at the end of this craft, I ended up only needing 45 clothespins, not 48. So I did have a few extras. But I did put 24 into each one of these bags, and I'm just going to mush around all of the paint with those clothespins. And it took a few minutes, and I took out one after doing this a minute, and I realized it didn't get all the way through, so I had to add some more paint and water into both of these bags just to make sure I got a coating all around the clothespin. But once I did, I was able to pull these out, and I just used a paper towel and I just lightly dried all of these pens, and I just laid them out on a soakable surface. This is just a disposable cloth that you would use for a potty pad for a dog, but it works really good to soak up all of that paint and allows these clothespins to dry. So the clothespins did take about 2 hours to completely dry, but we're just going a little bit quicker here in the video because we don't have 2 hours to show all of this. And we're going to add these clothespins to a wreath. And this is a small wreath from the Dollar Tree, the one that you get in the 2-pack. And I'm just going to clip these on in an alternating pattern. So brown then white, brown then white. And for the white clothespins, I put them on the back 2 lines. And for the brown clothespins, I put them on the first 2 lines. And it does kind of feel weird when you're putting it together because the white clothespins are kind of making the wreath stand up. But it looks great when it's all finished, so just keep going until you're done. So let's now go ahead and figure out how to attach the sign. And to attach the sign, you could try to hot glue it, but I didn't think that was going to stick very well. So what I decided to do was I added these pipe cleaners to the back of the sign, and I'm using just a little piece of ribbon to hold down the hot glue, and I'm putting the pipe cleaners in each corner of the sign. And once we have the pipe cleaners and ribbon attached, we're just going to set this aside and let it dry for a little bit. So while we wait, we're going to make a beautiful bow. Now at Walmart during Christmas time, they have ribbon over in the wrapping paper section, and this is where I got this ribbon. I have used this ribbon so much for my crafts, and I love that it's black and white like this. And yeah, it's great for Christmas, but it's also great all year round. Okay. So to make this bow, I take a loop and I make one loop on one side and a loop on the other side. And I do this 3 different times on either side. I then leave enough ribbon on the end for tails. and I reattach this with a pipe cleaner. And I'm just going to fluff out the bow, cut off any of that excess pipe cleaner, and then we're going to cut a small piece of ribbon off of the roll of ribbon again, and just fold that in half, and we're going to attach that around the center of this bow. And now I'm just going to go ahead and just pinch the bow in the center and hold on to it real tight while that glue adheres to the ribbon. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to flip out my bow, and then I'm going to cut the tails. And for this one, I decided just to cut the tails in a diagonal. So now that our bow is complete, we're going to go ahead and set this aside. So let's go ahead and grab our wreath and put everything together. We grab the sign that we had glued the pipe cleaner to, and I'm going to fold the pipe cleaners inward and then flip the sign and the wreath over. And then I try to put the pipe cleaner through the clips and the wreath, and I was able to do it with the first one, but then I realized, oh, these are clothespins. Why don't I just take one off? And then I just decided to do that on all of them. So I just took a clothespin off, added the pipe cleaner, put the clothespins back, and then we go ahead and we just twist those pipe cleaners nice and tight to make sure that the sign stays into place. And I just folded the pipe cleaners down into the wreath. I didn't even cut them because I figured, well, I may want to switch out the sign later with something different. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for me. So now let's grab our bow, and I'm going to determine where I want to place it. And now that I have a placement, I'm going to add some hot glue, and I'm just going to glue it onto the top of that wreath. And I'm using a clip just to make sure it stays into place. And once that's dry, I remove the clip. And now we have a beautiful patriotic wreath ready to hang. Craft number 3. For this craft, we're going to use the bottle cap sign from the Dollar Tree, these beautiful star ornaments, and another one of those napkins. And I flip over the bottle cap sign, and I'm going to go ahead and measure out how the napkin's going to fit on the inside of that sign. I remove the bottom layer of the napkin using my blues painter's tape, and then I'm going to flatten out the napkin. We'll place the napkin on top of the back side of this circle, and I'm going to fold it back into a square, and then I'm going to try to center that in the center of the circle, and we're going to draw a small line, and now we're going to cut out our circle. And as you can see, I didn't get it quite right the first time I tried this, so I had to trim it up a little bit, but no big deal, it still fit into the nice little bottle cap. So let's go ahead and remove the hanger from the bottle cap. I'm using my Mod Podge, and I'm going to go ahead and paint a nice thick coat along the bottom inside layer of the bottle cap. And we're not going to let this dry. We're going to place the napkin on there straight away. And I'm using a balled up piece of saran wrap, and we're going to just dab that napkin into place. Now once that's dried, we're going to grab some more Mod Podge, and I'm using the matte finish, and we're going to paint another layer to seal everything in. And while we're painting this, I just want to say thank you to all of you viewers out there. You guys make this so much fun to do every day, and I really appreciate all the support. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of these beautiful videos. Go ahead and grab one of these star ornaments. You get them in a 2-pack at the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to use one. We'll save the other one for another craft. I go ahead and I untie the top of the ornament, and I'm going to restring the beads onto either side of the string. So originally all the beads were on both strings, and we're going to go ahead and just do red, white, and blue on the left, and then red, white, and blue on the right. And you'll see what I'm doing here in a moment. So now we're going to take this ornament and put it inside the center of the bottle cap. And we're going to take the string and we're going to weave it through the holes that were there for the original hanger. And we're going to make a new hanger using the ornament and this string. So we're just going to match up the two pieces of string at the top and tie a little knot. Now we have a cute hanger to hang for Independence Day. Thank you again for watching the video today. I appreciate all the support. Have a wonderful day.